My name is Margaret Ann Thompson, and I never thought words could cut so deep until the day my daughter-in-law looked me in the eye and said, "You're not family anymore." It was a quiet afternoon in our old farmhouse kitchen, the kind where sunlight filters through the lace curtains and dust motes dance in the air. I had just set down a plate of fresh-baked oatmeal cookies, the ones my son David loved since he was a boy. Lisa, his wife, sat across from me, her face tight, her hands folded like she was holding back a storm. We had been talking about the holidays, planning who would bring what to the family gathering. But then she said it, calm, as if she was commenting on the weather. "Margaret, with all due respect, you're not family anymore. Not in the way that counts for us." My heart stopped for a moment, like the world had tilted. I didn't cry or shout. I just nodded, feeling a cold wave wash over me, and excused myself to the porch. As I sat there, rocking in my old chair, watching the leaves fall from the maple tree, I wondered how we had come to this. All those years of love, of being there for them, and now I was an outsider in my own son's life. It hurt more than I can say, but in that pain, something inside me began to shift, like a door creaking open to a new understanding. That day replayed in my mind for weeks, but to understand it, I need to go back to where it all began. I was born in a small town in Ohio, the kind where everyone knows your name and your business. My parents ran a little grocery store, and I grew up helping stock shelves and count pennies. Life was simple, but full of warmth. I met my husband Robert at a church picnic when I was 19. He was tall, with kind eyes and a laugh that filled the room. We married young, built this farmhouse together, and raised our only child, David. Robert worked as a mechanic, fixing cars for folks in town, while I took in sewing and baked for local events to make ends meet. David was our joy, a quiet boy who loved books and helping his dad in the garage. We weren't rich, but we had love, the kind that sees you through hard times. When David was 12, Robert got sick cancer. They said it came fast, and he was gone within a year. I remember holding David's hand at the funeral, both of us lost in grief. From then on, it was just us. I worked harder, taking a job at the local diner during the day, sewing at night. David helped to mowing lawns after school. We grew close, like two peas in a pod. He would sit with me in the kitchen while I baked, telling me about his day. Those moments kept us going. Years passed, and David went off to college on a scholarship. I was so proud, waving goodbye from the porch as he drove away. He studied nursing, wanting to help people like the doctors who tried to save his dad. That's where he met Lisa. She was in his class, smart and driven, from a big city family. When he brought her home for the first time, I cooked a big supper: roast chicken, mashed potatoes, apple pie. Lisa was polite, with a soft smile, and questions about our town. I liked her right away. She seemed to care for David, and that's all a mother wants. They dated for 2 years before he proposed. I helped pick the ring, a simple band with a small diamond. The wedding was beautiful, in our church, with wildflowers from the field behind the house. I sewed Lisa's veil myself, adding lace from my own wedding dress. It felt like our family was growing, like I was gaining a daughter. After the honeymoon, they moved into a little house in town, close enough for me to visit. David got a job at the hospital. Lisa too. Soon, they had their first child, little Emma. I was there in the delivery room, holding Lisa's hand while David paced. When Emma cried her first cry, I felt whole again. Grandchildren bring that kind of light. Life settled into a rhythm. I babysat Emma during the day while they worked. I loved those hours reading stories, baking cookies, watching her toddle around the yard. When their second child, Tommy, came along 2 years later, I did the same. The house filled with laughter again. Lisa and I got along well at first. We shared recipes. She taught me how to use her fancy coffee machine. David would call every evening, just to check in. "Mom, you're the best," he said once, after I helped with a tough week. But little things started to change. Lisa began making comments, small at first. "Margaret, Emma doesn't need so many sweets," she said one day, eyeing the cookies I baked. I nodded, tried to cut back. Then it was about bedtime routines. "We do it this way at home," she explained, showing me her schedule. I adjusted, wanting to help. David stayed quiet, caught in the middle. I told myself it was normal new parents finding their way. But the comments grew. During family dinners, Lisa would talk about her parents' big house in the city, their vacations. "We should take the kids there more," she said. I felt a pang, like our simple life wasn't enough. Still, I kept baking, kept visiting, kept loving. One summer, they planned a trip to Lisa's parents. "Mom, why don't you come along?" David asked. I was excited, packed my bag, but at the last minute, Lisa said, "Actually, my folks thought it might be too crowded." I stayed home, waving from the porch as they drove off. It hurt, but I brushed it off. Next time, I thought. Next time never came. The visits to my house slowed. "Busy with work," David said. When they did come, Lisa seemed restless, checking her phone, suggesting they leave early. Emma and Tommy still hugged me tight, but I saw Lisa pull them back sometimes. "Don't bother Grandma too much." I wondered if I was imagining it. Inner thoughts swirled. Maybe I was too old-fashioned, too clingy. I tried to change, bought new clothes, learned to text, but the gap widened. Holidays shifted. Thanksgiving at Lisa's parents one year, then the next. "It's easier for the kids," Lisa said. I spent that day alone, eating a small turkey sandwich, staring at the empty table. The sadness crept in slow, like fog on a fall morning. I missed the noise, the laughter, but I didn't complain. Mothers don't, do they? We just keep going. The rising conflict started with small things, like cracks in a foundation you don't notice until the house shakes. It was about a year after Tommy was born. Lisa had gone back to work part-time, and I was watching the kids 3 days a week. One afternoon, I picked Emma up from preschool. She had a little cough, nothing bad, but I gave her some honey tea when we got home, like my mother did for me. Lisa came to pick them up and saw the cup. "Margaret, we don't give honey to kids under 2, she said, her voice sharp. Tommy was 18 months then. I apologized, explained it was just a sip for Emma, but her face stayed tight. "Please follow our rules next time." David hugged me goodbye, but I saw him glance at Lisa. That night, I lay awake, feeling like I had failed. The next week, Lisa dropped off a list: foods to avoid, nap times, screen rules. I followed it to the letter, but it felt cold, like I was a hired sitter, not Grandma. Things built from there. During a family picnic in the park, I brought my potato salad, the one everyone loved. Lisa tasted it and said, "It's a bit heavy on the mayo. We try to eat healthier now." The others ate it fine, but her words stung. I smiled, said I'd adjust next time. Inner thoughts raced. Was I not good enough anymore? David pulled me aside later. "Mom, Lisa's just stressed with work. Don't take it personally." But I did. It felt personal. Visits got shorter. Phone calls too. "Can't talk long, Mom. Kids are fussy." When I offered to help more, Lisa said, "We're managing fine." I started feeling like an extra, not needed. One evening, I drove over unannounced with soup when I heard Tommy was sick. Lisa opened the door, surprise on her face. "Margaret, we weren't expecting you." I handed the soup, but she didn't invite me in. David waved from the couch. I drove home in the rain, tears mixing with the drops on the windshield. Why did it feel like I was intruding? The tensions grew during holidays. Christmas that year, they came late, left early. Lisa complained the house was too drafty for the kids. "Maybe next year at our place," she said. I nodded, but inside, it hurt. My home, where David grew up, now not good enough. Small misunderstandings piled up. Once, Emma fell and scraped her knee while playing in my yard. I bandaged it, kissed it better. Lisa saw and said, "You should have called us right away." I explained it was minor, but she took the kids home early. David called later. "Mom, Lisa's worried. She's a nurse, you know." I knew, but it felt like she didn't trust me. The quiet sadness settled deeper. I baked less, visited less. Friends noticed. "Margaret, you seem down," my neighbor Mrs. Ellis said over tea. I shared a bit, and she hugged me. Families change, but love stays. But did it? I wondered as I sat alone in my kitchen, the oven cold. One spring day, Lisa called, "Margaret, can we talk?" We met at a cafe in town. She looked serious. "The kids are getting older. We think it's best if they go to daycare." My heart dropped. "But I love watching them." She sighed. "It's not that. We want them socialized properly." Properly. The word echoed. I felt the crack widen. After that, I saw the grandkids only on weekends, if at all. The house felt empty, silent. I filled time with gardening, planting flowers where the kids used to play. Inner thoughts whispered maybe I was too old, too simple for their world. Lisa came from a city family, educated, modern. I was just a widow from a small town. The conflict built quiet, like a storm gathering clouds. David tried to bridge it. "Mom, Lisa means well." But I saw him torn, choosing sides without saying. The sadness grew, but I kept calm, holding it inside. The turning point came on a warm summer day. the kind where the air hums with cicadas and the sun hangs heavy in the sky. It was David's birthday, and I had planned a small family barbecue in my backyard, like we did every year. I spent the morning marinating chicken, chopping vegetables for salad, baking his favorite chocolate cake. The table was set with checkered cloth, fresh flowers from my garden. Emma and Tommy were excited when they arrived, running to hug me. "Grandma, we missed you," Emma said, her little arms tight around my neck. I held them close, breathing in their shampoo scent. David smiled, kissing my cheek. "Thanks, Mom, this looks great." Lisa followed, carrying a store-bought pie. Her smile was polite, but her eyes seemed distant. We sat down to eat, the kids chattering about school. It felt almost normal, like old times, but then Lisa cleared her throat. "Margaret, we need to talk about something." I set down my fork, my stomach twisting. "Of course, dear, what's on your mind?" She glanced at David, who nodded slightly. "We've been thinking about the future. The kids are starting new activities, and our schedule is packed. We appreciate all you've done, but you're not family anymore. Not in the way that counts for our decisions." The words hung in the air, sharp as a knife. The backyard went silent. Even the cicadas seemed to stop. Emma looked up confused. "But Grandma is family." Lisa shushed her. I felt my face flush, my hands tremble under the table. Inner thoughts rest. How could she say that? After all the years, the love, the help. David looked down at his plate. "Lisa means we're handling things on our own now, Mom." But her words echoed, "Not family anymore." I excused myself to the kitchen, splashing water on my face, breathing deep to stay calm. Tears came, but quiet ones. When I returned, I smiled faintly. "I understand. Enjoy the cake." We ate in awkward silence, the chocolate tasting like ash in my mouth. They left soon after, the kids waving sadly from the car. That night, alone in my house, the pain hit full force. I sat in the living room, the leftover cake on the coffee table, uneaten slices mocking me. How had it come to this? I thought of all the times I had been there, the midnight drives when Tommy was born, the soups when they were sick, the hugs when life was hard, and now, not family. The betrayal settled deep, like a stone in my chest. I didn't sleep, pacing the floors, memories flashing. The day David married Lisa, how I welcomed her with open arms. The grandkids' first steps in my yard, all erased in one sentence. The next day, I called David. "Son, what did she mean?" He sighed. "Mom, Lisa feels you're too involved. She wants space for our family." Our family, as if I wasn't part of it. The realization dawned slow. I had given everything, but it wasn't enough. They saw me as an outsider now. The hurt turned to quiet resolve. If I wasn't family, I would find my own way. I stopped calling, stopped offering help. Weeks passed in silence. The house felt lonelier, but I filled it with small changes, repainting the walls, tending the garden more. Friends checked in, and I shared a little. "Families grow apart sometimes," Mrs. Ellis said, but inside, the wound festered. One evening, Lisa texted, "Kids miss you. Can we visit?" I replied yes, but short. When they came, the air was thick. Lisa tried small talk, but her words from that day hung between us. The turning point wasn't just her saying it. It was me realizing I deserved better. I hugged the kids tight, but when they left, I cried alone, the door closing soft behind them. The resolution began slow, like healing a bruise you can't see. After Lisa's words, I pulled back completely. No more unannounced visits. No more baking for them. The silence from my side matched theirs at first. David called a few times. "Mom, are you okay? We miss your cooking." I said I was fine, busy with my own things, and I joined a book club at the library, met women who shared stories of their own family pains. We read books about loss and starting over, and it helped. One lady, Mrs. Harper, had lost her husband too. "You have to find your light again," she said over coffee. I nodded, feeling a spark. I started volunteering at the local senior center, helping with meals, baking for strangers who appreciated it, filled the gap a little. The grandkids' faces haunted me, though. Emma's laugh, Tommy's hugs, I missed them like air. Months passed. Fall came, leaves turning gold. David showed up alone one afternoon. "Mom, Lisa didn't mean it that way. She's stressed with work." I listened, pouring tea. "Son, words like that don't just vanish." He looked sad, admitted things had been tense at home too. "The kids ask about you every day." My heart softened for them, but I held firm. "I love them, but I need respect." He nodded, hugged me tight before leaving. That conversation opened a door. Lisa called a week later. Margaret, can we meet? Just us. We sat in the park, benches under the oaks. She looked tired, eyes red. I regret what I said. It came from fear of losing control. I listened as she shared her own story growing up in a big family where everyone interfered. I didn't want that for us. Tears came for both of us. I understand, I said softly, but it hurt deep. She nodded. I'm sorry, truly. Forgiveness didn't come all at once, but it started there. We talked more, slow and honest. We began small coffee once a week, then visits with the kids. No big expectations. I baked again, but for all of us, sharing slices over stories. David mediate, helping us find balance. The family felt different, but stronger, in a way. I realized my worth wasn't in giving everything. It was in being seen. Lisa and I grew closer, like friends almost. One evening, as we watched the kids play, she said, "You're more family than I knew." It healed something in me. The resolution wasn't perfect, no fairy tale, but it was real. We learned to communicate, to set boundaries with kindness. The pain faded, replaced by quiet strength. In the end, life finds its way back to warmth, if you let it. I sit on my porch now, watching the sunset, feeling peace. That day Lisa spoke those words changed me, but for the better. I learned family isn't just blood. It's respect and effort from all sides. If you're hurting from words that cut deep, know it's okay to step back, to heal, to forgive when ready. Love yourself first. That's the subtle lesson time taught me. And in that love, true bonds can mend.